How's it going, everyone? This is your Astrology Horoscope for Thursday, September 19th, 2024. I'm astrologer Alex Skyles, and welcome to the Moon Base. Hope you guys are great. It's good to be here with all of you. We're still coming down off of this eclipse we just had, and with that moon passing through Aries, which squared Mars yesterday, we still have the moon in Aries today, which will make it in conjunct with Mercury. So communication is very important because we have Mars dispositing the moon dispositing Mars, with Mercury in its ruler, making this in conjunct to the moon. So I think when it comes to communication, I think we have to kind of break through some of the weirdness to get our point across and to say what we need to say. I think there definitely are things that are on the tip of our tongue today that may not roll off in the most pretty or gentle way with the moon and Mars at this weird angle, but at least, if we can be willing to be vulnerable, I think it can really open up some doors towards really getting clear on some details and some facts that have definitely gone overlooked. And when that Mercury opposed Saturn with that lunar eclipse we just had, Mercury opposing Saturn was definitely giving us messages in that realm. It's like, look, things aren't always what they appear to be. We have to at least try to organize our thoughts so we can make a more rational projection about the future. I think if we can clean things up, clear things out, and clear out the mind, the gutter of the mind, and just the gunk that gets backed up. I think today, whenever communication starts to get a little weird or things seem a little off, or it's like, did I say that wrong? It's like you just, you think you made somebody feel weird when you said something. It's like, and it really wasn't that way. It's kind of one of those vibes, but it's like, if we can really start to clear out the gunk and get through the fog, we can really understand what's really being said and what's on the surface. Because with this moon in Aries that just came off of that square to Mars, emotions definitely over the past few days have kind of been a lot. The emotional intensity has been a lot. Of course, going through that eclipse and with that moon square Mars yesterday, it's like emotions are very heightened. So Mercury is like trying to say, it's like, hey, let's like at least calm some of these emotions and get a hold of some emotions and feelings so we can think about things a little bit more rationally. And let's think about what we just went through with this eclipse and think about, the things we need to let go, especially with Pisces. It's the 12th house. It's all about letting go and surrendering. And, this is what we're taking into the future, and this is what we're releasing into the past. And that's what a full moon is all about. Of course, I think once this moon comes off of this in conjunct with Mercury, it will conjunct Chiron as we move into the afternoon here. So the emotional intensity that we have gone through the past few days with this eclipse and that moon square Mars, and, the moon right now wants to be where Mars is at, of course, with that Mars in Cancer. And Mars does not want to be in Cancer. It would much rather be where the moon is at. So it's like there's been this emotional conflict with our identity. And, I think this eclipse is definitely awakening a lot of us to shed old beliefs. This, of course, Pisces, Neptune, Saturn, all right here. This has a lot to do with our beliefs. And Jupiter and Gemini, which squared Saturn, definitely bringing up new ideas and information that are questioning and challenging our beliefs. So this full moon is like it's releasing a lot of beliefs and a lot of outdated beliefs. And we can even go back, centuries of beliefs that are embedded into our DNA, and our ancestors, our ancestral makeup. So there's of course, with this exiting of this Piscean age, I think we're all going through that in some sort of way because we've all been influenced by the monotheistic Piscean framework that has been for over 2,000 years now. So I feel like we're shedding a lot of that on a more higher level, but on a more individual level, this does come down to like what we identify with. And this has been a big theme this year too, with this Chiron playing a massive factor with the nodes and the eclipses. So here we go again with this moon conjunct Chiron. And of course, we just had Venus opposing Chiron. This is bringing up a lot of feelings about not just ourselves, but the relationship situations that we've been going through and the opportunities that we've had for healing and the openings, but they haven't quite connected. It's like there's been opportunities and openings, and that Venus opposing Chiron with that full moon definitely created an opening, but there's still like a resistance. There's still walls that keep going up. And I think too, with the sun opposing Neptune, which isn't exact today, which we'll feel going into the evening, going into tomorrow. So definitely as we move into Friday, our dream states are going to be very important to pay attention to. Our subconscious definitely is trying to tell us something, and it's going to be very, very bright. Our subconscious is going to be very lit up over these next few days and this weekend. So, but on the surface, there still is these observations and these reflections of this Chiron that we've been dealing with and the karmic stuff that's been coming up that's connected to our identity and the things that may not have worked out, or relationships that may not have worked out, or where relationships have been damaged or wounded. I think there's opportunity to open up. It's just the resistance that it's like, okay, we'll meet halfway, and then you meet halfway, and then the walls go up again. It's like this moon today, conjunct Chiron, is trying to break through that. And this moon, once it does come off of Chiron, it will oppose Venus. So this is where the opportunity lies. In whatever kind of relationship situation this is, it's like there is definitely an emotional situation that's coming up between very specific relationships that we have and very personal people that we have in our lives. This is the moon and Venus at opposition in Aries and Libra, and Venus being in its ruler, its secondary ruler, if that's even a thing. We'll call it the secondary ruler. It's like there's definitely some things that need to be addressed and emotional things coming up where it's like the moon is like, hey, if this relationship isn't going to work out, it's like I got to take my own path and I got to do my own thing. And, or on the other end of it, it's like, hey, it's like we are so caught up in this relationship and we've forgotten who we are as individuals. Like we need to find our own place within a relationship and not identify with each other as much, or give our identity away. Or of course, on the other end of it, with the Libra South Node end of things, it's like the codependency where the relationship's one way. So this moon at opposition with Venus too. It's like, it's like if I'm just going to keep giving and giving and giving, and this relationship is totally imbalanced, where are we going? And of course we felt that with that moon square Mars yesterday. It's like, where are we going? What direction are we headed? And the moon square Mars, right after Mars squares the North Node, it's like we're still feeling that tension. It's like we got to do what's best for us, what's, secure, for just a solid foundation, and we have to protect that and nurture that. But we also have to, tread our own path and maintain that connection with our identity, and if we can do that, then it's going to be a lot easier to manifest or maintain healthier relationships. And that's always the hardest part, right? So this moon today is reminding us of that, and it's definitely bringing up a lot of those feelings. And of course, too, when the moon does make that awkward angle with Mercury, it's like that's kind of the shakeup, where you start asking the question of like, is this weird? Am I being weird? Is what I said weird? Like, if I made you feel weird, I'm sorry. But that's like kind of the opening, to what this moon opposing Venus today is trying to get to. Mercury's tomorrow is going to square Jupiter. So you got to be honest. You got to keep it honest, and you got to lay out the facts, and you got to lay out how you really feel and how you really see things, and make a plan. With Mercury and Virgo, it's like we got to have a plan. We got to have things in order, and we at least have to, think about things practically and not, just about the fantasy. Of course, that Mercury that opposed Saturn with that eclipse gave us a lot of reminders of that as well. So let's see what we got. Bam. Yeah, it's like, it's been sleepy. The full moon, the eclipse, it's like I've been the most tired I've been in a while. Pisces, lunar eclipse, very sleepy. Very, very sleepy. We got the King of Pentacles today. So it's like with Venus at opposition with the moon today. And of course, the moon and Mars at conflict the past few days. It's like we have to maintain a sense of strength and power, and also like a sense of not necessarily coldness, but like you can't just totally give off this naive, full card kind of energy. It's like you got to own your power and your strength and earn that respect. And with that moon in Aries, it's like you can't just blow up and overload these emotions just to get your point across. And that's kind of been the challenge with the moon and Mars and Cancer in general. So it's like, when this moon opposes Venus today, it's really bringing up the question. It's like, what is valuable about this relationship? I think that's been a massive question with this Venus in Libra crossing the South Node. And then that Grand Trine too, there was a massive opening. I don't think the opening is quite flourished yet, or has fully allowed the flow and the current to open up at its most, at the smoothest rate. But I think once this moon does conjunct Chiron and oppose Venus, I feel like we can start to feel like, there can be a spontaneous kind of opening after a lot of resistance. And, there's a lot of resistance with Mars and Cancer anyway, or it retreats, it retracts, it goes inward, before it even gives itself an opportunity to express, and because of that, that's the reason why is that insecurity of, not being able to actually get your point across, because there is always this self-awareness within that, when it's hard to rein the emotions in with Mars and Cancer, it's like you kind of have to let the dust settle before you can really get your point across. So, this moon with Mars has definitely been pretty intense, very intense emotions. This lunar eclipse too. It's been really insightful to see how the past 16 years have come to this point. And, I think over these next 14, 15 days before we get to the Aries Libra eclipses, we can definitely expect some incredible, magical, karmic events that are going to play out in our lives, and the most magical synchronicities. I've already been feeling that Piscean, Neptunian, synchronistic, the right things are always going to work out at the right time. And I can say that fully, and that's definitely how it's been. But also the things that have to fall away and that we have to let go of and we have to surrender are also dissolving as well. And we're going to, keep moving through that over these next 15 days. So it's good to be here with all of you. I have some new stuff over the next 2 weeks I'm going to be launching that I've been working super hard on with the intern. So I'm super stoked. And yeah, I guess that is it. And I hope that was helpful for today. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.